Ni hao, everyone. And thank you very much, Ryan, for energizing everyone after lunch. I hope that you had a good lunch and are looking forward to an exciting afternoon. So as Ryan said, I'm going to be talking about organic for all ages. Now, as I'm sure I don't need to tell any of you, the principles, practices, and approaches and outcomes of organic are more important today than they have ever been. The challenges we're facing are also the most stark they've ever been, with climate breakdown, biodiversity collapse, health issues and inequality being huge issues in society, and they're urgent and they are issues that we need to tackle today. And we're lucky in some ways because organic offers a solution for today and for the future. And it's also tried and tested. It's not just a concept, it's not just an idea. It's something that we know, that we have proof that it delivers the future that we need to see and mitigates the challenges that we're facing today. But the problem is that organic's voice is often lost. People have become disconnected from their food or aren't connected at all. Now, this is some figures from a survey that was done in the UK last year. 23% of children in the UK don't know that potatoes come from the ground, and 25%, a quarter of all children, think that fruit and vegetables come from animals, or perhaps from the sea. So the concept of agriculture is completely disconnected from many people's lives, particularly when people are living in urban environments, which many people are more and more these days. And so when we're dealing with organic, which is all about agriculture, it starts with the soil, it can make it really challenging to talk to people about organic and to get them engaged if we're starting from a point where children don't even know that food comes from the ground. Most people don't know that there is a problem with food. They might have heard of the climate crisis, or they might have heard of health issues, but they don't necessarily know that that's got anything to do with food. And that makes communicating the benefits of organic really challenging. But as I said earlier, organic kind of has a good problem. It's a good problem because we know that people do actually care about the issues that organic can address. This graph here is taken, again, it's from the UK. It's a sample size of adults. They were asked a question, thinking specifically about environmental issues, which one of the following do you think are the most important issues for the government to address? And you can see there some of the top issues were around reducing the amount of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, protecting the countryside and green spaces, and reducing air pollution. Now, these are all issues that organic can directly address. And this kind of a bit of a callback to something that a few people have mentioned that Conrad started talking about yesterday. So when we talk about what organic delivers, we quite often talk about the things it doesn't do, so no pesticides, no GMO. And we kind of try to appeal to the head. So we try to talk to the logical reasons why they might choose organic food. But what makes people buy things isn't based on what they think, but what they feel. And as a sector, we spent a lot of time on the head, appealing to the logical reasons why people should buy organic. But what we really need to do is appeal to their hearts. So organic needs to show up in all of these ways here. We need to start where people are. We need to be clear. We need to be consistent. We need to be contagious. We need to be credible, and we need to be confident we have got a solution that's for the world and that's for the benefit of everyone in society. Like we can afford to be proud and excited about that solution. But we can't deny that there is a bit of a tension between how people act as citizens and how they act as consumers. In a way, we all behave in two different ways. So we can think, oh, something's terrible in the world, but then our behavior, we might do something else. So we might think we should do something, but we actually do something else. So you could think about this being our obligations as citizens. So what we think the right thing to do is, and then as consumers, but what do I need to do? So there is a tension between those two things sometimes. And organic really does need to try and meet people where they are and make a connection between those two kind of sides that we have. Connects the kind of citizen activism, wanting to do something to make the world a better place, with day-to-day consumerism, like what are the choices that people are making, and making sure that people recognize that there is a connection between those two. And today, consumers also have really diverse roles. This has also come up in some of the other presentations. So people aren't, when we go to the shops, we're not just consumers, we're so many other things now. So you are a consumer, you're a buyer, but you're often also a member of a community. So it might be a vegan community, or it might be an environmentalist, or whatever. Lots of different, you might identify in different ways in society. You might, if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you might be an influencer. So what you're buying or what you're consuming, you're trying to reach other people with that, or you can reach other people with that. You might be a brand advocate. There might be certain products that you really love, and you like talking about them with your friends on social media, or just in your day-to-day life. You might be prosumer, so that is kind of the opposite of a consumer. It's that you make things yourself rather than just consume them, just eat them. And then also a reuser. So people are looking for products that can be reused or repurposed in different ways. So when we're thinking about marketing organic, it's important to think about people who are buying your products. They have all of these different roles in society. Now this session is titled Organic for All Ages. And I haven't really talked about ages, but that's because my main point isn't so that much that we should be targeting age, but we should be targeting interests. What matters to people? How can we connect what matters to people with organic and what they're buying and what they're supporting? In some ways, we can think of organic almost like a brand in itself. And if we think about it as a brand, we can think about some of the stories that we can tell through organic food and farming. Unlike in some sectors, unlike, say, Coca-Cola or a perfume company who might have big margins to play with where they can invest in their marketing, we don't have that in the organic sector. So we've got to get really creative, thinking about how can we position organic in a way that's really going to tell some interesting stories and draw people in. And I've got some examples up here. You might be wondering why Beyoncé's on the screen. I'll come to that in a minute. So there's new farming gaming platforms. I'm definitely too old to be engaged with them, but some of you might be aware of them. And on some of those farming gaming platforms, you could reinforce organic by getting extra points or getting further in the game if you're using organic practices as part of your digital farm. We can make the most of local interests, of different interests like local. So if organic is at the heart of local issues and those two things are connected, it makes it more relevant to people. So for example, if there's a local issue around air pollution or water pollution, linking what's happening on organic farms to those issues is a way of drawing people in and making them connect organic with something that's important to them and that they want to support. Now, our media and entertainment systems like Netflix, and films and podcasts and things, there seems to be quite a trend for looking for the heroic underdog, or those individuals who've really made a difference in the world and could like a good news story. And we in the organic movement are full of them. There are some of them in this room, or have been in the last few days, people who have made a huge difference in their communities. Now, those are great stories to tell, and they are topical stories. People want to hear about those people because they offer hope for the future. And who doesn't need hope? So we should think about who are the organic pioneers whose story that we could really tell in a compelling way. Let's get them on Netflix. And then, dear Beyonce here, did you know that she has got an organic garden? And there's other celebrities like Benedict Cumberbatch who've got an organic farm. There's plenty of celebrities and plenty of figures in popular culture who support organic, but we don't necessarily make those links or tell those stories, and there's definitely an opportunity for us to do that. Globally, we do need to professionalize our marketing, and we can do that through leveraging our networks and connecting up the great things that are happening in different countries. I've got so many new ideas from hearing from all of you over the last 2 days, and there's much that I will take back to the UK, and I hope it's been the same for you and you've learnt from one another, and there's ideas that have been sparked in the conversations here that you will take forward. And I would really love to hear more about what's important in your cultures that you think is a good hook, a good connection to help people connect to organic in their day-to-day lives. But before I wind up, I do want to make the point that scaling organic, because this is really what we're talking about, right? We're trying to make organic more widespread in society, in the world. We're trying to see more farms farming organically. I've been talking about marketing and the marketing of organic products, which is obviously linked to the organic market. But to bring real change in the world, we've got to look way beyond the market. And it's been great the last 2 days to hear about lots of initiatives that aren't just focused on a kind of market approach. We use something called, I find this a really useful way to think about the kind of activities that we need to engage with in order to bring change. It's called the COMBI model, and COMBI stands for capability, opportunity, and motivation. Those 3 things are needed for behavior change to occur. And that could be at the level of the individual, but it could also be at the level of society. And if we think about how that might apply at the level of societies in our own cultures, in our own countries, I think we can broadly, this is what I've been thinking about for the UK, and I hear a lot of the same messages over the last few days. So capability, organic is supported. So that's about the financial and practical support and the kind of policy coherence to make sure that farmers can learn from one another. We've heard about how knowledge intensive it is. Farmers need to be supported in order to connect and learn from one another. Generally, organic action plans can really help facilitate this. We've seen in areas of the world where there have been really successful scaling of organic, the organic action plans have been a core part of this. And I wish I could have stolen the graph from yesterday that showed that the increase in the organic land area in Taiwan, because it's exactly that kind of level of policy support that drove an increase in organic land area. The second letter, the O, the opportunity, is about making sure that organic is available so that people can actually access it. And part of that is making sure it's for sale in shops, and it's in the shops where people go, but also in public settings, in schools and hospitals, places where people access food on a daily basis so that it's something that they can interact with easily in their day-to-day lives. And we also know that it's really important that the right supply chain infrastructure is there. So things like processing facilities, storage facilities, that can help with those links between producers and consumers. And then the third one is motivation. So organic is valued. And this idea of value is such an interesting one because it isn't just about financial, it's not just about the cost, it's about the value that it has to the world. So once policymakers realize and appreciate the value that organic has in delivering carbon sequestration, helping them achieve their net zero targets, addressing health inequalities, helping rural livelihoods and access to healthy diets. Once people start to recognize the public goods that organic delivers, then it is valued more, and then it is therefore supported more. But we do ultimately also need an economic system that fundamentally values good things for good people. So that it's not the polluter pays, that it is that the polluter pays, that it's not that the things that are good for people and the environment don't have to pay more. I mean, it's crazy that organic food often costs more. It should be literally the other way around. How are we existing in an economic system where that's kind of causing our destruction? Something on a much more fundamental level needs to change. So this side is also about that. And this is one way of thinking about the kind of change we need to see and how everything connects. Yesterday, Vlad presented the kind of outline concept within the policy toolkit that iPhone have developed. And it's a different way of saying pretty much the same thing. It's all of those elements, the push and the pull, and how they all interconnect. So in summary then, if I was to kind of summarize the key points that I'd really like you to take from this session, is that when it comes to marketing organic products, we really need to start by meeting people where they are. We need to appeal to the heart, not just the head. Focus on what people are interested in first and foremost. And we need to get creative. We need to match what's going on in popular culture with what organic can actually deliver. But also we need to be a bit bolder and a bit more creative. You know, we're running out of time to make a difference. And we are lucky. We have got a solution that is valuable and that the world can benefit from and is benefiting from. And so we just need to get on with it. And really, when it comes to scaling organic, it's not just about marketing. And that I hope this model shows that there is a role for so many different ways of making a positive difference and so many different people in making a positive difference. Every one of you in this room is a leader. You all are in positions where you can make a huge difference to the world through the work that you're doing, and you all fit into this picture, and that's something to really celebrate. Thank you.